lot of people today, that kind of exposure, those kind of incidents would have ended your career. You do a lot more after that. Let's fast forward because there's so much of your story that I just don't have time to cover. Let's fast forward to Kosovo a few years later, and you're over there serving in Kosovo. And when you have a chance to see a special forces team basically get blown up, and would you describe a little bit about your tour in Kosovo, but about how that special forces team incident impacted you?
Kosovo, we got the mission. I was at Fort Bragg when we got the mission to go to Kosovo. Again, I was with another team. This is the Fighting 89th, which is now deactivated, but we were the Fighting 89th out of Fort Bragg, the only airborne firefighters in the Army. And I was the last airborne firefighter in the Army on jump status, actually.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I have the distinction of having that and 50 cents be worth a cup of coffee and maybe a board question. But other than that, not much.
The Fighting 89th. I love it. Let's parachute those firefighters right into combat.
Well, that's where I got my call sign from the CG over there. He said, well, you guys are airborne firefighters and you're going to be the smoke jumper element. So that's when I became Smoke Jumper 7. And that was pretty cool. But we were responding, of course, to the genocide in Kosovo from Milosevic. Putin had just taken power a year before. And I chose my words carefully there, taken power. Milosevic was pretty much a nasty henchman that committed genocide. And, I just want to say that when we hear the word genocide, we hear it thrown around so flippantly throughout the media these days. And if I could, Jeff, I would really caution anyone before they even use that word, or any word really, to think about it, because for those of us who have seen true genocide, it is not something to be thrown around lightly. It is not to be spoken of or used as a political broadsword. It is nasty. It is horrible, and it's preventable. So, but with that, we responded to this team. We heard that there was an explosion. This guy had backed his vehicle in, and he had just missed, I guess, these 2 anti-tank stacked mines with his right tire. And when he pulled out in the morning, he pulled out to the right. And I had to choose 2 guys to go with me because there were 6 of us. And I chose my guys from Bragg because it was our mission. The Army wasn't even backfilling my team anymore. I had 3 guys out of 6. So they backfilled out of Campbell, my old team. My idea, because they didn't know what to do. I said, well, I know I can find some firemen. You just need to cut them orders. And we were at Bragg, which has 18th Airborne Corps. So that was a very simple transaction. Unfortunately, it changed some lives that day by going over there. But I think for the better in a lot of ways, because we got to do a lot of good. We got to work with local firefighters. They have more of a military structure. Their head firefighter is like a general type cast for the country. And it's more of an admin position, but he and I got to talk a lot, and we got to do some joint operations, this was going to be our last mission. And I knew it. So I said, we're going out with a bang, fellas. We're doing everything we can possibly do. And I don't care if it's on the mission scope, we're doing it. And we did. And it was fantastic. And the guys performed beautifully. And my grandfather didn't make it to alive to see me make fire chief, but I know he's looking down with a little bit of pride, I hope, saying because we had 3 camps over 2 different countries, and we thought it was going to be a logistical nightmare, and it was to a degree, but it was a lot smoother because of the people we had.
Yeah,
people make a difference. They will make or break
the difference. Yeah, sure.